Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show, which finds us this time in Turkey. Last week, you remember, we left off when we were finding out about these beautiful Turkish rugs. Want to buy some, Betty?
Sure, I'm about to cut a rug. I did buy one, you know that, and I
but not
love
in Turkey.
it. No, but I wish. Oh, I just think they're so beautiful.
They are beautiful.
I just don't have any money.
Well, they are an investment, that's for sure. They are really an investment. Anyway, we're going to travel on now as we continue down the Silk Route. And the day that we were here, in fact, going through this little village, was the one of the anniversary of the death of the founder of modern Turkey, Ataturk. And at a particular time, everything stopped, and there was a moment of silence. But I think the moment went for about 5 minutes or such. And we had just passed as we were going through this little town, and you can see that we are still in Cappadocia. We had just passed a little town square, which was highly decorated there, but we just didn't get enough time there to get shots of it. So anyway, we are going to continue down the Silk Road, because what we're going to see today is we're going to go to a place which is called Caravanserai. Now, these are the places where the caravans would stop overnight, and where the animals and the caravan people would be protected inside. We're going to find out a little bit more about that as Mehmet, our guide, explains how Caravanserai got its name.
Specific name. The Caravanserai is the general term, the word that we use for these buildings. But additionally, if you have a name attached to that building, for instance, Ağzı Kara Han. Ağız means the mouth, Kara means black or dark. So Han is the word itself, Caravanserai. The main entrance, the large entrance of the building, looks to be a little bit darkish, dim. That may be the reason why they put it Ağzı Kara Han. But the name, rather than the name, the last word, Han, is more important, because if any such building has the name Han attached to it, that is built for and dedicated to a sultan. That is important. So when we are talking about Ağzı Kara Han, it's not a private building, or it's not one of those dignitaries, high officials, giving the money, spending some of his treasury, had that building built in his name. No, it is the other way around. It is the Sultan's wish and order, and the money came from the state, from the treasury of the Sultan, and a caravanserai was built. Therefore, the name of Han is fixed to it, and we have the Sultan's name written inside, of course, but the name is not so important, so long as you understand the system or the philosophy behind it. They have high walls, half protruding columns. When the building is large enough, partly it's open to the skies, that means no ceiling. The second part is covered by a ceiling and by a small dome in the center, which forms the winter section of the caravanserai. There's a huge gate made of blocks of finely cut blocks of stone, very fine masonry. The main entrance is also very beautiful. As soon as you come in, where you have the young man now, and this shop, there's an arch over there. That is the room used by the caretaker to register all the things coming in, all the people coming in to stay overnight. The very first part of it is, as you can see, open to the sky. In summer, when it doesn't get too cold at night, of course they use this section. You have these arches over here to tie the animals, and one corner of it is also used to exchange goods, because you don't travel thousands of miles like that. If you're a man of this town, for instance, you go a couple of hundred, maybe kilometers this way or that way, until you meet the other merchants and the other goods. You buy and bring them back over here. That's why there is always a small place, like a small market, so to speak, to exchange the goods inside this area. Then the rooms down there at the other end were used by the people, of course, to stay overnight with the goods they are transporting. This central building over here, rising on 4 pillars and supported by 4 small arches, as you can see, the entrance being on the left-hand side, is a mosque, a place of worship, because these are all Muslim people, of course. When they stay over here, as there was water and everything ready, they could have ablution in one of the rooms. They would go out, and then it's only in the opposite direction. There is a small niche forming the apse of this mosque toward Mecca, so you just stand that way, in that direction, and pray over here on your own. You don't need a bishop or the imam, anything like that. So this is the summer section. From this summer section, you go into the winter section through yet another monumental gateway, as you can see. Again, beautiful carvings, geometrical patterns over there, fine masonry. And in the center, you see the Arabic writing, in the name of God, let there be divine protection over this building, whoever built it, etc. The Sultan's name of that time is usually carved there. And below that Arabic writing, you see the arch of the gate. See how the stone is chiseled or cut to make it strong in position against earthquakes and all that. That is interesting, with that shape over there. At least each and every piece is fitted in such a fine way, at least because of the tension from the top of the building. At least the stone rests into position in such a way where, let there be earthquake, still it is in a good state of preservation. If you want, just let's go into the winter section quickly to have an idea. Then you can dig into the shop and take a look. This is the caravanserai of the pigeons now. No more camels. So you have this lower ground and the upper ground, like you can see over here. This upper ground, you have the straw and the traditional Turkish carpets. None of you showed interest in that one, but at least they had a lot of them over here, over the straws. And this way, at least from below, it is kept warm a little bit. Then, there was 2-leaved wooden door over there, which they kept closed at night, of course. So you had the animals and the people together. This raised platform is mostly for the people to stay with their merchandise. And here you have these holes, see, to tie the animals. So the camels were tied over here and they could sleep in this section. They all stayed together because even now it's very chilly, cool. And in severe winter conditions, of course, it's even worse. Therefore, by breeding together, man and animals, it is warm a little bit. Then you have fire here and there to keep the place warm enough. The tiny openings, the windows in other words, are deliberately high and deliberately small in the sense that this allows for the circulation of air because you're burning wood and all that, of course, and people are breathing. Therefore, at least the air is circulated, but during daytime, it gives some illumination. This is collapsed, therefore it is very light now. But imagine the dome is over there, it would be quite dim. So the only way of light penetrating into this building would be through the windows. And also, the windows are deliberately small in the sense that against the attacks of the thieves and the robbers, nobody could, sort of go through these holes. It's only for the circulation of air and to have some natural light coming in. Okay, that's about it. Any questions?
I never thought a caravan would have the stone. I just had visions of it being like tents and like the nomads would have had.
So you thought that everybody just camped out in the desert, huh?
Well, of course I did. Honestly, I was just shocked when I saw this tremendous building. I had visions of like when we were in Jerusalem and we would see the nomads with their hide tents and, you know, they had rooms in them. And I thought that's the way they traveled.
Well, evidently this the Sultan wanted the trade routes to be protected, so that's why they built the caravanserai. And some of these are, now this was a summer and a winter one, and we're standing in the winter portion now, of course, which is covered, as we explained to us. And then on the other side, you just have the summer time where they would be outdoors. And as we went along, we saw a couple of other ruins, and you could see some that were just for winter and some, of course, for summertime.
Well, imagine in the wintertime how pungent it must have been.
Oh, yes. Well, because, you know, the people were there, the animals were there, and all the goods were there, and also the people were cooking in there, too. And that's what some of those fires were, you know, would help keep that warm. But, you know, you had your animals right along there with you. And all these people were registered as they came in, because, and I think they had to pay a fee to stay there as such. Yeah. And here we can see the entrance to the mosque, which was right in the middle of the courtyard right there.
And this doesn't really show what it's really like, Marv. I mean, you can do only so much with a camera.
Yeah.
But when you visualize it yourself and you see the immensity of it, it's just,
It's
well, we
something.
use that word incredible all the time. I know.
But
We
it
got to
is.
find another word.
There are so many things that are incredible that we see. And when we go back to Turkey the next time, you come along with us and you'll get the chance to experience that for yourself. I think that one of the things that was so impressive about this is that this was still in a good state of repair. You know, you would have thought that we saw some others and they were just kind of crumbled down and had just sort of deteriorated, but this was still in a good state of repair. And the thing was too is that you could actually buy and sell some of your goods here at the caravanserai.
Not us.
Well, it was a little too late. The camels had come and gone.
But you
I
know,
think.
that's really not true. Though we did buy.
Oh, yeah, well, they had a little gift shop right there,
Tina
too.
bought a hat that, you know, that comes around
Is that
her
right?
neck. Yeah, yeah. So
right at the entrance.
So
yeah.
we were
Well,
still
there's something.
buying.
Well, that's good. And here's the summer portion, as we can see out here. So these were very big buildings. They also had guards that were here too. Evidently, you know, I guess robbery was a big thing, and still is a big thing anywhere
Always
you go.
was, always will be.
Right, and so as you explained, the windows were just for ventilation. They were way up high, but there were guards here. I suspect that the Sultan had put those guards there to protect these merchants. So again, this is on the Silk Route, which we are going to follow through a good portion of our trip here in Turkey. I want to explain something too. As we leave this, we're going to go on down, and we're going to go into a little town, and we're going to look for chimney pots. They're not really chimney pots, but they're pots that are sitting on top of roofs. And we had to look very carefully. Some of the people spotted some, and I just couldn't get a quick shot with the camera.
Well, we had fun with it.
Yeah.
Because the story behind them.
Yeah,
was
and we'll hear
Yeah.
a little bit about that about this story of why people do put these pots on the roof out here in the country area, as it were. But let's take another look here. You can see now the outside. This really looks like a castle, actually, doesn't it, Betty?
Yeah.
I mean, it is really fortified.
I thought, excuse me, right there looks like the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, though. The way the blocks are put together. Now we lost it, but it did look like it to me. But then I have an imagination. Sometimes it doesn't quit.
As he explained to us before, the entryway here is really highly carved and is really quite beautiful, as you can see. And of course, that's that. And then the entrance to the winter portion there was the part that was decorated as well. And that was about the only decoration that you did see. The rest of it was pretty utilitarian, I believe, you know. And here's a woman cleaning up out there in the back. Now, Betty, there's some big cones out here. I never did find out what those were. As we pan away from her there, we'll get a little shot of those. But this is right around in back of the caravanserai building. So I imagine that people are living right here in this close proximity.
Like those who, we lost it again.
Anyway.
The cones you were talking
the
about.
cones,
It's
yeah.
just happened erosion. There was a
See, there they are. There you go.
yeah, well,
now, I don't know
it's
that.
just erosion. They were a mountain, and that's what's
Oh,
left
that
after
no!
the erosion.
They built something.
No,
there.
they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they did. We'll go back and find out.
Ceilings of 1 or 2 buildings, not the chimneys though. Don't confuse. See if you can find one. And my second question is, why do they put these little pots on the ceiling? Rainwater, no. Solar heating, no. Sun tea? What does that mean? Tea, you mean? Yeah, sun tea, no. Oh, that's the tea and the sun combined. Okay, sun tea, no. I thought it had another meaning.
For the birds to roost?
No.
Take a Turkish bath?
Take a Turkish bath, no. By the way, there is another underground city over here. Look at the man in the cafe and all that. Have you been able to see? You haven't seen any. Yavaş geç abi biraz. Look at this one-story building on the right-hand side, this white building now. Look at the huge pot over there. I'm talking about this kind of a pot. Not the chimneys, huh? Smoke signals? No. That was, I think, the Indians. You give up, okay. I'll tell you that. You saw that pot in that house?
Yes.
Okay, there is a woman over there looking for a husband. This is... Yes. Followed by certain, in certain areas by certain villages. And sometimes it's a pot because this is, this is an area where they have been making pots since earlier times. Sometimes this is replaced by a bottle. Nevertheless, bottle or the pot, judging from the size of it, there are also some additional meanings. You saw that pot there, a large one. That large pot has 2 meanings. Either she's a young girl, I mean, like still a virgin, that's how they call it, of course, in the religion sense. And she's only heavy built. She is young but heavy built, okay, big body. Fat, okay, let's put it. I didn't want to say fat, but... Or the other one is she's already a widow. Either divorced or husband passed away, and she doesn't want to continue living by herself. She's looking for a second husband.
And now let's find out about the courting customs here in Turkey.
If they agree, then they tell her what time, where, and all that. Then she takes this message back. So when the time comes with the matchmaker, the young boy and his parents, maybe 1 or 2 more relatives, they prepare the famous Turkish sweet, baklava. Nowadays it has changed to candies and chocolate and flowers. So, homemade baklava, Turkish sweet. Let's eat sweet, talk sweet. That's the idea. Huh? So they take the baklava and then like 1 or 2 little handkerchiefs and all that for the girl, for her parents. When they reach home, the mother of the girl answers the door. She's behind the door in the kitchen. She doesn't greet the people originally. The mother welcomes them into the living room. Traditionally you have the living room in the center and the doors open up to the bathroom, to the kitchen, to the bedrooms, etc. So with one stove in the middle, the whole house is heated up, warmed up. So she hears everything, but she's not seen because she's sitting behind the door in the kitchen. So after the first greetings of how are you and all that, she comes out from the kitchen asking the people what they would like to drink. Tea, coffee, especially traditional Turkish coffee is very important in these cases, and many of them go for the coffee. She goes back to prepare the coffee and then brings the coffee and serves them. Now, from the moment she comes into the room to ask what they want to drink, how she greets the people, how she sort of makes a reverence and bow down a little bit, and going back to the kitchen, preparing the coffee, bringing it and serving to the people, and the taste of the coffee is good enough usually for the mother to have an idea about her upbringing, her manners and all that. Like the tea ceremony in Japan, you know, Turkish coffee ceremony in that respect is quite interesting. So during the time they drink the coffee, she is sitting on the edge of a chair just next to the kitchen door. She waits, alert. Then once the coffees are drunk, she goes to collect the cups, coffee cups, and she disappears again. But her heart is beating, behind the kitchen door. She's listening to everything, of course, they talk and all that. Finally, the father of the boy says, in the name of Allah and our Prophet Muhammad, we have all the good intentions of a visit, that we see your girl, your daughter has grown up and is ready to become a wife. And it is also our goodwill and intention to have your daughter as our daughter and as a wife to our son. This kind of sort of exchange of greetings and speeches. And although, or even though the girl's parents may agree for this marriage, they won't say yes immediately. It's against the tradition. The parents, the girl's parents, will not say yes immediately. They will say, okay, we understand your goodwill and intentions. If God and Prophet Muhammad approve this marriage, this is like a religious approach, of course, we will give you our answer. Then they say thank you and they leave. Now, sending back the answer through the matchmaker is like maybe from a week to 10 days or maximum 15 days, 2 weeks. Yes or no? If you delay the answer over 2 weeks, I mean, it may slightly vary, of course, from one region to another, it is usually understood that there is no interest in this matchmaking, but it is considered to be impolite. Yes. Yes or no, you should send the answer. If it's over 2 weeks and you don't hear an answer, yes or no, then it is the intention, bad manners, yes, it is the intention of the parents of the boy to forget about this. Because if they do not show the courtesy of sending back an answer, what may happen in future when you are under one roof? So in most of the cases, of course, they will send the answer. Yes or no. If it's a yes, then the second step starts. What time for engagement, what time for marriage, or if it's going to be all done. But usually they would like to give them a chance of seeing each other, meeting each other, talking to each other during this engagement period. It can be a couple of months or a year, depends on the circumstances and all that. So they buy the rings. Here in Turkey, the engagement ring is on the right finger here, on the right hand side. The marriage engagement is on the left one, the fourth finger. So Europe is the other way around. That's why I'm just bringing to your attention. So if you see a girl wearing the ring over here on the right hand side, the fourth finger, that means she's engaged. If it's a golden ring, of course. And so from then onward, with the permission of the parents, he takes her out here and there. They have a chance to meet each other, to talk to each other, even inside the house, under the presence of the parents and all that. Then finally they get ready for marriage, and the relatives are all invited for this marriage. So this is the traditional way. Of course, nowadays in the countryside, some places still observe this traditional, but in most of the cases, especially with the increasing number of girls, continuing their education, opening up to the outside world and having a social life, with or without the approval of the parents, they are dating, they are, seeing guys anyhow. And in large cities, sometimes they go as far as the extent of living together, being together before marriage.
So we see that even in Turkey, people do follow customs, religious customs, and then some don't. Some are what we would consider modern, I guess. You know, as we're on our way to Konya now, we're going to come by a plant here. Mercedes-Benz has a plant in Turkey. And the Turks and the Germans have a pretty good working relationship. Of course, there are a lot of Turks that have gone to Germany to work, and they can make more money there because the salaries are higher, and a lot of them work there and then send their money home back to Turkey to help their families there.
Just like we do, in our economy here. We have the workers that come in and work and then send the money home to support their families.
Exactly, yeah. So you do see that all over the world. And we are going to head now into the city of Konya, which was the capital of the mighty Seljuk Empire from the years 1078 to 1307.
What empire?
The Seljuk Empire.
Spell it.
S-C-L-J-U-K.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Didn't think I knew, did you?
I didn't. I really thought I was going to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the town square here in Konya. And there's some universities here in this particular area. We're going to go behind us rather quickly. There's one little tiny Catholic church that is here. You've seen a lot of the mosques, and you've seen the minarets, the big tall spires all over the country, which you will not see too many Christian churches, as it were. But on this particular road, which is the main street of Konya, and it's just right over here to our right. If you get no, Marv, over to the right. Let's go take a look at the right. Okay, here we go. Right there. There you go. Now we can look to the left, and what caught my eye were these great big flags there. This was one of the ministry offices there, and one of the government offices. So anyway, as we head in this particular area, we're going to visit, not on this show, but we're going to visit on the next show, the mausoleum of Mevlana, and I think I pronounced that right. And I know the spelling on this, M-E-V-L-A-N-A. Now, he was the founder of the Order of the Whirling Dervishes. So we've all heard that expression a long time, you know, whirling dervishes. And actually, it's a sect within Islam, and we'll get a good explanation on it on our next show. And plus that, we will be able to see the whirling dervishes. Now, when they put this on, this is not an exhibition or something for your entertainment. It actually is a religious service, and it's really quite something to see. Anyway, we're going to do that in our next show. But here is the mausoleum here, and this is a huge building. And of course, there were several people that were buried inside here. There are also a lot of early writings of his, and he was quite an interesting man. And we'll find out again, as I say, more about that in the show next week. But Betty, you know, it's getting almost time for us to say goodbye on this particular episode. There we are on the inside, and there are some of the tombs, which you can see they're the turbans there that denote the tombs. Anyway, you've got a lot of trips coming up right away, and we need to have people, if they're interested in any of the trips, to give you a call, and your number is
488-7443.
So Betty has her newsletter out, and if you're interested in getting that or finding out about any of our trips, please give Betty a call right away.